Greetings everyone, this is Lodrik and this is a game War in the Pacific Advanced Edition. Today we will check the match against Dojo. Turn number 10 means activity for 25th and 26th December 1941. I will always link the same turn from Dojo to my video so that you can easily compare the different view of the activity in this war from the Allied side and from the Japanese player side. This will maybe help to understand the game better and give a feeling for this fog of war rule inside the game. Okay, so my Japanese submarines still try at least to mess up with Dojo's early convoy and supply lines. Again, Pago. This was, I think, a real AO. AOs are most of the time a little bigger than normal tankers, but our submarine, well, the Japanese submarine simply failed. Was a good opportunity, but maybe next time. I think these are my additional landing forces. I know this was a real bombardment, so I used some light destroyers to bombard, but often have no real impact. Destroyer guns are simply too small. If there's an airport or a port with ships inside, this will maybe help, but for land targets it's often not very useful and often more waste of time and ammunition. And would real land bombardment better cover by battleships and heavy cruisers. Okay, so this is again one of Dojo's submarines. He tried more or less to, I think, get a kill on my transportation units going for Malaya. And this is wise and normally maybe will create sooner or later some hits. And if there are army units coming on transport ships and they get sunk here in the sea, this will of course hurt the Japanese army. Luckily I have here a lot of this kind of patrol ships running around, and because this is shallow water, they have at least a chance to be successful. And looks like in this case really 2 hits, but somehow this submarine is heavy damage, so maybe we can create here a kill. And our submarine found an opportunity to strike again, and this time with more success. So one torpedo hit, a second torpedo hit, and we just said the cargo is burning. So this AO have a fuel, oil loaded and is burning. Heavy fire, so this will be maybe not a complete kill immediately, but at least this will really cripple this kind of ship for a long time. And maybe must stay in Pago Pago for 2-3 months or even more. For better damage reports, you have really to check Dojo's YouTube videos. I think he will maybe show you the ships maybe more in detail. I only can tell you my submarine make 2 hits and cargo's burning. And maybe I get a sinking sound. So then I will know that the ship is dead, but I can never really be sure for this. Okay, so my Zeros still try to clean up the air of center of China. I think last turn Dojo had this I-16s and they intercepted my light bombers in this area. So I choose some Zeros to run here sweep now and lure this Chinese fighters in a dogfight. And it's happened exactly like I hoped it will come out. So my Zeros can now fight the I-16s and the dogfight, and this will normally be always in favor for the Zero fighters. We maybe have no kills, but at least the Chinese fighters are damaged, and at least at the beginning of the year I would say the Chinese National Army have a very limited aviation support equipment, so it's not easy for the Chinese, even if they have damaged airplanes, to repair them. And here Changsha again. I-15 is even an older edition. The Hawk is I think they are at a similar level. They are both interwar fighters. They are both outdated airplanes and airframes, and they cannot compete with a Zero fighter. It's only a question if we can get a kill or if we only damage the airplanes and force them to return to base. We have anyway always a victory on the Japanese side. Okay, nothing here. Here in Malaya, I can run my Nell and Betty bombers and every kind of air force now unescorted, because there's normally not more much left. My Zeros already in the last turns they destroy the cap fighters of Singapore, and the rest is already cut off. So I can freely use my bombers now. Support here. But again, Nell and Betty bombers are normally Navy bombers. Their main purpose is normally attacking enemy shippings. This kind of land attack is only a support role. If this is the best use for them, the problem is that I don't have really a good airbase to use them for anti-shipping now. And I'm a little more more safe player if I talk about my Air Force. Simply because Betty and Nell bombers, they have really no chance at all against any kind of interceptor fighter. So I really want to make sure that there's no enemy fighter more in the air before I use any kind of bombers. This is really low risk tactic for the Air Force. Compared to my Navy, my Japanese Navy, I let run on high risk missions. Yeah, and a lot of small hits here, small hits there. Like always, slow down Dojo's Chinese army. Help me to create my Japanese strike forces, army units, and then concentrate my my attack on the important cities I really want to take. And there is already now in the, I think we are now in week 3 or 4, and there's really not more much left from the Chinese Air Force. So a lot of bombardment in China, and this will more or less never stop. It is only in the first month or the first 2 months of the game there are so many Chinese forces broken everywhere a little. So I have now many airstrikes, many small airstrikes. Later on the one hand, I can maybe kill and wipe out a lot of these smaller Chinese army units. On the other hand, Dojo is able to maybe link them up and create better, stronger forces. So I have later on less airstrikes but more powerful airstrikes. Now I have still many small minor strikes. Okay, the Dutch Air Force try again to attack my cruiser battleship formations running around Java, trying to block all Navy movements here from Dojo. And again, they coming in low level attack, only one bomb, but no hit. But also my flag is not able to stop them, or hurt them, kill them. Okay, one bomber killed by flak, so they coming also in 1000 feet, low level attack, but no hit. Again, low level attack are a skill on its own, so even if these pilots now have Navy bombardment skill good, if they coming in low level attack, the program will not care this. The program will really only check low level attack skill. So you normally better, if you play the allies, I think you must choose. You train your pilots on normal level attack or on low level attack. And I really cannot say what is better, because the time the Dutch Air Force will operate is, let's say, limited. Normally latest in April the Japanese army is already in Java. And I don't know if it's easy to buy out this Dutch Air Force and if it makes sense. I mean, you can maybe buy a lot stuff out, But if it makes sense or if there's better equipment to buy out, always depends on the tactic of the player. Okay, my carrier force is now really next to Brisbane, but somehow my dive bombers don't want hit here. But it's only AMC. Wow, okay. This time Dojo is a little lucky. And here again, these dive bombers come now in a level attack role. They don't come in dive attack. At the beginning of the game I go with dive, then later I change to level attack because I had some issues with a low production value of this kind of dive bombers, and I lost some dive bombers in Pearl Harbor, and so I choose to better play it more safe, have less losses. But I think in March, or I don't know, more end of February, I changed back the dive bombers to go with dive attack. So you must go at least with 10,000 to 15,000 altitude, that you go with a dive down and have high chance to create a hit, but also higher flag losses. And there they come again. It's not that the Dutch don't try. Oh, this time it looks like the Japanese flag is much stronger. I saw 2 kills, here the report is now only 1 kill. Ah yeah, okay. Dojo is still coming in low level attack. So my short range flag can also normally now damage the airplanes. So we have a sinking sound. Some allied ship just go down. If it's the AO or maybe something else, hard to say. So, recon sightings. These are my Navy bombers, Betty, Nels. I have an Miri. And normally for Miri you have range that you can normally take every shipping around Borneo. But it's not enough range normally to go for Java. I also even don't want this. Because these Navy bombers, if they come too close to Java, the Dutch interceptors, they have a lot of Buffalo fighters. And Buffalo fighters are maybe no match for Zeros, but they are strong enough to kill my Nell and Betty bombers. So I don't want to come too close to Java. Yeah, okay. Very skillfully no hit. Again, low level attack. Now 12. I mean, the numbers are impressive, even if they are a little broken. And if they come together, they will maybe have a better chance to create hits. Yeah. So this is normal level attack, but in 3000 feet, so this will already allow me to use also my short range flag, and this is the official low level attack, so you can see the difference in the bomb load. So second strike on Brisbane. Not really meaningful, so it only shows that Dojo don't have any cap fighters in Brisbane, so city and port of Brisbane is more or less without air cover. But if there's no ship to hunt, then you also don't need really much air cover now. It's too early. The Australians, maybe in end of January, beginning of February, here will be much more air power from the American Australian Air Force. Now we have only one shitty 1-point AMC to kill. Yeah. Okay. Here was now my Japanese cargo ships, but the submarine commander was carefully and avoid, or he chose not to attack because there was some escort ship inside with my cargo ship, so he played safe. And this is normally a problem for submarine commanders. Submarine commander normally cannot play it safe. Submarine commanders must be aggressive, but of course they must be not suicide aggressive. Okay. A little more bombardment. This time because I think this is now daylight and last time it was night attack or something. Now we create some hits. Okay, take the city. Last time Dojo already left the city undefended behind, so not a real fight, only takes the city. One of Chinese broken or independent operating Chinese corps, and I use some mixed brigade regiments to clean up here. This is a more or less easy victory. You can see that the Chinese attack value drops completely, maybe related to they have no commander with them, so there's no general with them, and then they're fighting badly. So the Japanese units have nearly only disabled, and for the Chinese many are destroyed. This is now my layer cleanup operation. Some Indian units left. Okay. So not a super easy victory, but the beginning of the end for this Indian forces. Maybe next turn we can wipe them out. This is normally my airport. So there's this is really only an airport I use, so you have a lot of engineer stuff and anti-aircraft stuff. And Dojo tried to use some of his left behind Filipino units to maybe attack the base, but even if I don't have enough attack value, I have some attack value and can force him. And because this unit is, I think, out of supplies or no morale, no preparation, and everything is against the American Filipino. So, yeah. And my air power, I think, also create a lot of stress for them, so they had no will to fight more. So, pick up here also undefended forces or base here. This is only this. I think these bases, they have some resources, they have not much value, but better pick them up. Okay. And again, Dojo submarines are all at the east coast of Malaya, trying to get a shot on my cargo ships. But if you are the Japanese player, you really must have here a lot of submarine hunters and also escort for the cargo ships, and this is the most important stuff in the first months of the war, to bring your forces to Malaya safe and also bring your cargo ships back to Saigon or wherever you want to go, and try to get rid of this Dutch British submarine forces at the beginning of the war. It's a lot of let's say time consuming to set up all of these sub hunter groups. Yeah, but if you want to have less losses, you better invest this time, operate your units. It's only for 1 month, maximum 2 months. Normally end of January, beginning of February, Singapore is already conquered by the Japanese, and without Singapore it's much harder for the Allies to operate the submarines in that area, and also there will be less traffic. Okay. Ooh. So this is a Mark 14 torpedo, and Dojo make a hit. Luckily it's a Mark 14 torpedo, and of course the torpedo hit but no explosion. But my escort ship is also not able to, I think, create here anything, so nothing. But our Japanese submarine can create a good hit on the AO. Again, with fuel cargo damage. Oh, 2 torpedo hits. 2 torpedo hits is often a killing for a cargo ship. Also an oiler, especially if it's burning. And this is now really far away from any port. If it's only 1 hex away from a port, maybe can survive. Or if you attack in cargo port directly, I would also say can survive. But now 3 torpedo hits, heavy fires, heavy damage. This AO is for sure dead. And we get immediately a sinking zone. So, okay, this is now northeast of Pearl Harbor. Dojo have here, I think, the first sub-hunter groups. but most of the American submarines, most of the American destroyers have similar problems to Japanese destroyers. They can hunt submarines, but mostly only in shallow water. For deep water, they are not very. Their equipment is still not suitable for this kind of task. So a lot of shipping here around the Christmas Island, so maybe I must send a task force there to check what exactly Dojo try to cover there and manage in this port. A lot of bad weather. Bad weather. So this is really a powerful, 52 Betty bombers, they normally can, if they find any Navy units, they will for sure create many hits, but I keep them back in Taiwan to support this war in North Philippines so far. The Navy bombers, Nell and Bettys, you can normally bring them to any airbase with I think airfield level 2 is enough already to operate them with normal range, normal bomb load, something like this. Okay. This is like last turn, so there's one I-16 left. I think the Zeros damaged 2 of them, but we had no kill last turn, or last day. But only one fighter is not enough. Good. So my Bettys, the problem with the Bettys is that they normally are torpedo bombers. So, and if you want to use this kind of Navy bombers with torpedoes, you need always an air HQ. So it's a logistic question. You need a base with airfield level 2 at least, supplies, and you need an air HQ there. Then this is not so easy to organize always. Of course, this is not a. Well, I don't want to use this for an excuse, but it is a. You must always manage this kind of stuff. Keep it in mind that how you want to conquer a base and where you want to send your air HQs, because at least at the beginning of the war, the numbers of air HQs are limited. Later on, in summer of 42, the Japanese they also get 4 or 5 additional air HQs. Then it's much easier to maybe provide for every important base an air HQ. So many attacks. Okay, so my carrier fleet in one day they more or less moving from east of Brisbane or east of Sydney. And we find a minesweeper, an ocean-going minesweeper. Or again, I think this is a 2-point ship, something. And the PG, this is maybe a 3-point ship, something like a convoy escort stuff. Nothing really with much firepower or value. But you can use them, or the allied player can use this kind of ship for escort for a convoy. So they will have at least some, they provide some kind of protection against submarine attack. So if I can kill them now here, then later my submarines have less trouble. But more I cannot create out of these kills. Only to support my submarine activity later on. This kind of losses will not normally will stop Dojo or let him have bad dreams. So also a lot of ships in Batavia. I think Dojo simply call all his ships to his main ports and create out of many smaller task forces, bigger task forces to have a better protection and cover them. Okay. So maybe we can get rid of this last I-16 fighter. We're coming from behind. And get a kill. Thanks God. So this last fighter just both are my bombers, but now is also over, dead, broken. So 3 weeks in the war and the Chinese Air Force is more or less defeated. Hopefully. We will see in the future if Dojo brings the Flying Tigers from Rangoon or Burma into this Chinese area war. Or if he maybe keep his best fighters to protect Rangoon. Okay, so these are the better Blenheims. But better means not good. They also fail. This is still long range attack, so only half the bomb load. Yeah. So a lot of air activity, but everything a little small. No big critical fight. A lot of noise, but with small results. In this turn, we had no real navy battle. Last turn we had a lot of navy activity, but I think most of my task forces are running low on ammunition and must return. So maybe we can now get rid of this India units here. So there's nothing left for them. They are cut off. No communication, no supplies. So this India forces are giving up. All 3 of them are destroyed. A cleanup operation successful. So I built here also an airport so that I have a local airport next to Singapore to provide a better air cover, that nothing will mess up with my future operations in this area. So this is already the end of the turn. I mean, it was activity, but nothing major. So the intelligence report compared to the day before is only now Dojo lost 2 more in the air, but also 4 by flak. Operation losses are light for both sides. So mainly 4 more all killed by flak. Dutch bombers, medium bombers get killed, and 2 I-16s gets killed. So this is what was left for the Chinese Air Force. And here 1 more. So 3 fighters for the Chinese Air Force are destroyed. So yeah, and the rest is only operation losses. So 8-2, but not really important. So out of my 2 airplanes, both pilots one gets killed and 1 gets wounded. Okay, but wounded normally will come back after some time. We have still here only our 3 aces, so and ship sunk this turn. The Japanese lost again nothing, and the Allies lost one of the AOs official go down. Okay. So, and you can see this is a 30-point ship. So this is the value more like a light cruiser. The tonnage with 10,000 is also, I mean, this is 10,000 ton ship, and it's fast, and have a capacity of nearly 15,000 tons. So this is really one of the best oilers. I think this is maybe the best oilers you can get, because they are really fast. They have really high capacity, so their value is like a light cruiser. This is a first class oiler, so get rid of this kind of ships will have impact on Dojo's activity in the future. Mainly because these ships are normally important if you want to run carriers or battleships far from your big ports. The AO simply will normally be used to refuel your task forces in the open sea, so that you can operate longer outside, away from your ports. And the rest is only minor stuff. 1.2 points. This is a PG, so you can see they have anti-submarine activity or equipment, but this is nothing more really. Only for anti-submarine stuff. When maybe we can get rid of one of these Dutch submarines. Why not? Why not? Good. This is here the rest. I think I discussed this already last time. So we still have here. I try to catch up with my forces. Everything what Dojo have here on my main roads, railways, to get this all cleaned up. So my forces here moving northwest. Maybe next turn we can arrive here and then they get rid of this unit. Then I must also get rid of this, but this is only a small unit. Maybe my air force is powerful enough to get rid of them. And they also looks like they're trying to escape to northwest to Yenan, something like this. And here I try to catch up this unit. I think I defeated him last time or turn before. So clean up, manage here to get rid of all Chinese forces nearby, so that at least no Chinese forces is close to my bases, or at least, well, let's say 2 hexes away, that I always have time to organize some defense and shift my forces. More important is that here in center, east of Xi'an, my tank force is still here in a defense position, because they are of course not strong enough to attack something. But looks like that Dojo, maybe he's running. I don't see here anything activity from him, but I will pressure him. and I try to link up more of my forces. So the first army is coming here, and more equipment of this first army, but also the sixth army is on the way. So try to, yeah, I think I have a rest day because these forces are a little burnt out. So and I want to wait maybe that the rest of the first army can, the first army and the sixth army, they link maybe here together, and then I can make the move. Yeah, here's I think all the same. Still, here are some forces behind my line. I want to get rid of them. At the same time, I'm moving here my big powerful 3,300 attack value forces around Dojo. Try to avoid these two hexes and go directly for Nanyang. And here in the center is a lot of units still everywhere. So clean up. I took the base here. There's only some resources, and luckily nothing gets destroyed, so I can still produce produce more resources, feed my industry later, and try to, encircle, cut off more of these Chinese forces, and not let them easily escape to the main line. Because normally I would say this road here around, this is normally the main defense line for Dojo or for any Chinese player. If this would be nice for the Chinese to take the cities, but I think it's more realistic to keep these three bases here and hold this center line. And if Chinese player can hold something like this, then it's good enough. And also this normally is also important for the Chinese to hold this. This kind of cities here, they are all, I think, only secondary. And not too important for the Chinese to keep them, hold them, because it's nearly impossible for them. Or for the Japanese, it's much easier to take these cities. This here will be harder, because then the distance is longer, less supplies will arrive, and so on and so on. Yeah, I think here we get rid of these India forces in the north, so I can concentrate my forces, move them down. Kuala Lumpur, I also arrive here with some forces, but not really strong, but 300 attack value. And Dojo have your maybe similar attack value. Maybe I can take the city next turn, because most of these British forces have no good communication, no good supplies. They are already broken or defeated once, so it's a question of time if how fast I can get rid of them. It's only I want to get rid of them first before I attack Singapore. So after I clean up all of Malaya, then I concentrate my forces, and then I will take the step into Singapore. A more aggressive player will maybe he will maybe not clean up, and he try to bring immediately all what he can bring to Singapore and take Singapore more quickly. Because at the end, Singapore is the most important port in all of this area for the Japanese and for the British. If the British can hold this city or this port for long time, especially if they can also keep Palembang, then the oil from Palembang can maybe feed the Singapore port, and then the Allies can normally operate here maybe submarines more efficiency or with more effect. But to see. So we have here a lot of task forces, but maybe they were small. So here this is 2 ships, 1 ship, 3 ships, 6 ships are here. 1 ship is more, and this is AM, light cargo ships, AMC. So all of these ships are not really important and small. Here's maybe a light cruiser. But so I sent here my cruiser force to check this area, maybe find something, battle a little. I have still ammunition here. But this is the flag gun, and you can see that the flag gun is already from original 20 down to 12, 13. And also my light flak gun, they have only a range of 4000. They also consume ammunition. So even my heavy machine guns only have a range of 3000. Sometimes they get used. So this is this shows that Dojo tried to attack this kind of task force with his Dutch forces. But this is the only cruiser formation here is now running. I think the rest is already back to my bases. They are low on... I don't know more where they are. Yeah, they are running, I think, back. This is a slight cruiser task force we had before. And here is a... one of my gun is destroyed or damaged. And also the ammunition is low. So it's time to bring this force back. So only my heavy cruisers operating here, and a lot of my submarines looking around to maybe get a lucky hit. And here also submarines, but no heavy units more. My heavy units are often burned out and have to return to base now. I have here 13 heavy cruisers or cruisers in overall term, and most of my cruisers are damaged. You can see they have light damage or some even bigger damage. This heavy cruiser had a last hit of a 28 centimeter. I think this is maybe from a coastal gun, something like this. So they are also major damage. So this I cannot repair even here. So, but this might be a ship I must bring back to Hong Kong or Japan to fix this damage. But at least I try to fix most of the damage before I send my cruisers out. Often it's cost me only 1 or 2 days, but depending on, like, this unit cannot fix more because it's major damage. Normally you don't need to keep this kind of ships in shutdown. Then normally you must have it in readiness. But I think this is the first game played by email, so at that time I still make some mistakes with organization, and it's not all 100% smooth so far. And you will always make some mistakes for sure. And only to show again the value of ships. So this is because I only to complete the story. This light cruiser or heavy cruiser is now finished because this last I cannot fix. But to change from shut or stand down to readiness needs now 3 days. Normally I had already last turn to change this. Now I lose 1 turn or even 2 turns to use this ship. Anyway. And this light cruisers, you can see they have a value of 29. So the AO, the tanker, Dojo just lost, have the same or very similar victory value. I mean, this ship have only 7,000 tons, but it's a military ship, so it has more value equipment compared to a tanker. But the tanker is much bigger. So, not sure, but I can show again. I think I'm bringing here now some task forces in position to more or less block the way to Rabaul, to make sure that if there are submarines or any other forces coming, that I can maybe interdict them and see them coming, and maybe if they are only cargo ships I can kill them even with this kind of patrol ships. But I will prepare now more or less my navy task forces, I think, for landing operations. Truck. So I still bring here stuff in and out. I must organize here some forces in Truk to later take Rabaul. But this is really, others will go here much more aggressive, but I won't take Rabaul, and I won't take all the bases around, but I will not go for this for priority number 1. My priority is more or less keep here, the little stuff I have. I have not too much equipment here now, but some submarines in my first carrier fleet is running here around and always trying to find and sink something. And even if I cannot sink something, at least I can, because he has now detection level not very high, but Dojo knows it here, my carriers. So if I run my carriers here, Dojo can normally not operate his cargo ships around. Or if he do this, then he have a very high risk that I can maybe find them. Because so early in the war, there's nearly nothing what the Americans have to stop my carrier fleet. I mean, the Americans have of course 3 or 4 carriers. But Americans, they can use these carriers, of course, early on already. But Dojo not choose this option so far. He more or less play it safe. He want keep his power together and his units safe, and maybe wait for better days coming. And my poor submarine here is, I think, my poor but successful submarine is now here out of ammunition. So this kind of submarines, they have only low range and low ammunition, so 1 or 2 attacks on the cargo ship and then normally have to return. So must return. Here is still some torpedoes left. And he is also not more, I mean there are still some torpedoes left, but the ammunition storage is getting short. So not much more. I have here still my big submarine fleet. This is the beginning of the game. There's a lot of submarines around Hawaii, and in the first weeks maybe it is easy or more likely to pick up here shippings between Hawaii and California, but later on, if the allied player is let's say skillful, he can create maybe hunter groups to find my submarines, or he have good protection for his cargo ships, and then maybe the submarines have somewhere else more likely possibility to sink something. Yeah, of course here are also many warships running around, so if the submarines can find something and attack, it can create really trouble for the allied player. But these submarines are also far away from any base, so if they get damaged, it's hard for them to return to a friendly base. And if you use your submarines maybe more in this area, not too far away from your bases, it is still maybe able to, even a damaged submarine can return to base. But it will help the Japanese if they really take Rabaul and later on to Lagi. Then the distance to Fiji, New Caledonia and the east coast of Australia is much shorter and more easily for the Japanese submarines to operate and maintain the position. So, not more. I think this is enough for today. See you all. Take care. Bye bye.